Do you have any recommendations on how they can kind of embrace the channeling of it, the flow of it, and how that can be brought into their lives a little more?
Absolutely. The other thing I always recommend, especially if you are starting to dabble and you're like, wow, that feels really channeled in. Well, what feeling would you like to capture when you're sitting down to write? That is always important and a
Yeah.
really easy way to kind of like hack yourself into being in that channeling state. If you're like, oh, I really want to capture the feeling of what it's like to be a creative in a suffocating capitalist environment. So sit in that energy for a second and actually experience that feeling for a moment. And it's going to pull you into that channeling space because you're sitting there and actually feeling that energy out. And then start to write from there. And you're going to be a lot more connected to your muses, to whatever guides are helping you. And if it's a larger fiction project or a larger, even nonfiction project, you do have guides helping you and characters helping you that we deeply know exist in an energetic reality. You actually get to channel in your characters. You can actually talk to them and communicate with them. So it helps to know you're not doing it alone. And you can start almost treating it like a Q&A a little bit, not necessarily in that structure, but sometimes that helps of being like, okay, what is gonna happen in this story? Who's doing what? Like, asking more that way, and it doesn't feel so much like, "I have to come up with everything everyone's doing." It feels more channeled in and more organic and more you're talking to your characters, and then out of nowhere, you'll notice more and more structure forms, and then you can really get into flow. So, if you're starting to dabble, for any of the listeners out there, if you're starting to doodle with writing, just allow yourself, where do you feel like you're in flow state? How can you embrace the energies around you? And then write from that as well. The biggest thing is don't put pressure on yourself and don't read back over it and freak out that you're not doing it well enough. That's inaccurate.